So wokeness has clearly spread, and our society is becoming super woke. So that is why we are taking a look at when men don't hold back from woke people. But quickly like and subscribe, and let's get right into the video.
It's a woman.
I don't think there's an easy definition for what a woman is, as long as she's identifying as a woman.
A woman is anyone who identifies themselves as a woman.
A woman is someone that identifies as a woman.
It's who you identify as.
If you identify as a woman and you feel that like in your soul and in your mind you're a woman, then that makes you a woman.
Someone who has decided that they feel like a woman.
The complete ability to be fully who I am in whatever space I want to be in.
Being a woman means having the choice to choose what being a woman means to each woman.
What is a woman?
What is a woman or what is a female? What's your question?
What is a woman is the question.
A woman is a gender that's been assigned by society.
We have a problem.
Why is nobody talking about chromosomes? I mean, they must have skipped biology class, or how is identifying as one the only answer they come up with?
So you're asking me to change the actual meaning of words to accommodate you. I'm not going to do that.
No,
I'm not going to
request,
do that. It is, because not only is it a request, you can now get in trouble in certain states
I'm saying that's not people
for misgendering someone.
The request of the trans community is not that I'm actually a man, but I want you to pretend I'm a woman. The argument of the trans community, which I agree with, is no, I am a woman. No! And so I want you to revert me.
But you're not a woman. So that's the problem. So this is what I say is now you've asked me to take on your mental disorder, right? So I am okay with the fact, the argument from my uncle who thinks he's a Native American from a certain tribe is that this is what he thinks. He thinks, but he's not. Okay, so I'm not then to say to me that argument is valid because he thinks it. No, just because you think something doesn't make it real.
Sensational.
Okay,
but that's exactly what gender is. Gender is exactly about an experience and a performance and a social construct.
It's not a social construct. Stop saying a social construct. To say that words don't have meaning and they're socially constructed means nothing. And I'll tell you why.
They are.
But you say that, but then this
wasn't always a book.
Okay,
this could be called mug.
So then you know what it is? Our entire discussion about Black America meant nothing. There's no such thing as racial injustice. See what I did there? Because Black is a social construct.
Yeah, but we live in a social reality. So within that social reality...
It can't be both, Mark. So you either think that the gender wage gap is BS, that feminism is wrong, and that racial disparities are all BS because everything's a social construct. You're either going to go full postmodernist and say nothing is real and it's all made up, or you're going to acknowledge that there are some hard, concrete truths. If there are hard, concrete truths, you and I are Black, okay? That's not going to change because we wake up and we decide, you know what, today I'm white and it's just how I feel, and today I'm Chinese. No. You and I are Black, okay? We are acknowledged as Black people. We're sitting down as Black people. I am a woman. You are a man, okay? Now, if I want to wake up tomorrow and say I'm a man, you want to say you're a woman, and we want to play the crazy game, we can do that. To then say all of society now is to pretend that it was all a social, no, it was a social contract. You were born a male. I was born a female.
Yes, that's a
Is this guy for real? Come on, he can't be serious with what he is saying. Imagine saying the male and female gender is a social construct. I mean, why does he have a pole and not a hole then?
Why is it socially acceptable to be transgender, but it's not socially acceptable to be transracial?
I think that's they're very different things. I think that I don't know how to phrase this in a way, but I would say is...
Yeah, it's because it doesn't make sense. The people that started this woke idea really didn't think it through.
Male gametes. That's what makes me male.
No, your don't make you male.
Then what does?
It's a constellation.
In reality. In truth. Okay?
Whose truth are we talking about?
The same truth that says we're sitting in this room right now, you and I.
No, you're not listening.
If I see a chicken laying eggs and I say that's a female chicken laying eggs, did I assign female, or am I just observing a physical reality that's happening in the world?
Does a chicken have gender identity? Does a chicken cry?
Well,
Does a chicken commit suicide? Let's frame it, because you're trying
to... Chicken has sex like any biological organism.
Chicken has an assigned gender, but a chicken doesn't have a gender identity.
So we assign female to chickens when they lay eggs?
We assume they're female if they lay eggs.
These woke women really can't use common sense. It's so obvious that female and male is the only genders, but I'm concerned about why they keep saying the opposite. Why do they keep denying reality?
If you're here to ask me about the term mansplaining, some people use it and some people think of it as a kind of feminist term, but feminism is not an organisation. We don't have an AGM. We don't all think the same thing. It's the campaign for women's liberation and women's equality, and as such...
Well, you seem to think a lot has twaddled today, Kate. Certainly nothing racist, and so far you're the only one who's been sexist tonight. Kelly J, you want to respond?
Yeah, I'd just be interested to know when we talk about, modern feminists, where they've been. Because lots of modern feminists, Kate included, don't seem to want to talk about the existential threat posed by transgender ideology on women's spaces, on the fact that there are boys and girls toilets in schools and girls don't have access to single facilities, on the basis that we are changing. This is what happens. Modern feminism, the biggest threat to women in this country right now, women and girls in this country, is transgender ideology and the fact that we no longer can define what a woman is without some silly caveat. And we've got men, so actually we might even now have women man-spreading or woman-spreading because they might require this space apparently. And then we've got self-proclaimed feminists like Kate Smurthwaite, who are too frightened to actually name this issue and talk about it. I think it's laughable that we can talk about.
Well, I think you just triggered her. I think you just triggered her, Kelly, to the point that she just did the laptop drop. You know, it's the modern day equivalent.
What does mansplaining mean? Is it when a man complains? Because why do we need to call it a mansplain instead of just complain? What does the gender have to do with it? Probably just some more woke cringe.
I mean, let me put it this way, because you've been dodging my questions all morning. You're a feminist. Why is it okay for a female to say, I don't want to date a guy on the offender registry, but when a man says, I don't want my future wife, the mother of my children, to have a high body count, all of a sudden that guy is labeled a misogynist? How is that fair?
What the? Ladies, how are we gonna get on the same page? We agree on most right? You think that we disagree on a lot, sweetheart? Like what? Like what? Really? I went to one of them women's marches and we had a lot in common. I saw those girls screaming, free the nip. That sounds pretty good. Right? They were screaming, we should be able to have as many guys as we want. Yes, you should. If we get pregnant, we should be able to it, hopefully. And we need to work so we can pay our half. Hallelujah. Fellas, get down here. It's happening. We've reached common ground. It was unbelievable. These women were fighting for the right to become the men they've always had. Just walking around with their shirts off, whoever, not worried about the kid. I'm like, are y'all feminists or boys? What is this shit? I'm just saying, we're on the same team, you know what I mean? And that's good because this is as good as it gets, ladies. Y'all can't move anywhere else and it gets better for y'all. You gotta deal with us being that's a fact. We are we say stupid shit like women can't drive. Nah. Women can't drive. Nah. But in the Middle East, they're like, no, seriously, women can't drive. So we don't play that shit out here. Are there women driving? Ahmed, give me the stones. These out here driving. Gotta teach them a lesson with stones. I'm not saying there aren't things that y'all gotta go through. Obviously, you know, like you might have a daughter that has low self-esteem because she's comparing herself to these unrealistic images every single day, and that's really up. But in China, you can't have a daughter. So, yeah, you have a daughter, they just mash it into an iPhone. That's the policy. Enjoy your FaceTime. Enjoy your FaceTime. There's a little Chinese girl inside every one of your iPhones. Why do you think when your phone breaks, they say put in a bag of rice? You think that's a coincidence? You think that's a coincidence? It's to soak up her tears, okay? Have some respect. We love y'all, okay? And we want to make you happy. I think most guys want to make you happy, especially there's this rumor like we don't care about satisfying you. That's not true at all. We feel pathetic if we don't satisfy you. That is mad difficult. If we're gonna keep it a buck, it's tricky, yo. I don't know exactly where it is. I still do Ash Wednesday every time I'm down there, dog. Like, right? Like longitude, latitude, you bump into it. Father, Son, Holy Ghost, Father, Son, Holy Ghost. You do that enough times, you get baptized.
This guy really was always 2 inches away from getting canceled, but it's great that he made the woke heckler laugh and also got some revenge on the wokeness.
If someone came up to me and said, I hate white people, I hate you because you're white, did I just experience racism? racism from that?
No.
Are you sure about that?
But if I said those exact same words and twisted the skin color, it would be racist.
Absolutely, 100%.
I did not go through that course of who can be racist toward each other. Interesting,
right.
but
Probably
I'm
because
good.
you're white, so.
Oh, because I'm white, I didn't go through the racism course.
Probably not.
Yes or no? Can white people experience racism?
No.
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 No?
No, by definition, no.
What's the definition?
I would have to Google it really quickly, but.
Do that for me.
Okay, let me Google it for you.
Yeah, I'm interested.
Oh, not me on 5%.
These woke people are crazy when it comes to defining what means. They think it's some special word for black people only. I mean, imagine if the roles were reversed.
If you're dating a transgender person and you're straight at the time, does that mean you're straight after you date them?
Yes.
Yeah. I think you're still straight. Like, you're a guy and you're dating a trans girl. Yeah, I think you're still straight. Because also, sometimes it's just hard to tell.
You're still straight even if you're dating a transgender person?
Yes.
I mean, scooping the pole out the way is not straight behavior to me. And why are they saying it's hard to tell? I mean, is it supposed to be a game of luck or something where you sometimes pick a trans dude?
I went on a date recently with this girl. She was a really hardcore feminist, which I'm cool with. But then at the end of the date, she wanted me to pay for dinner. I was like, come on. Can't be a feminist just for the good stuff. Every time a man pays for dinner, he should be allowed 1 second joke at the girl's expense. Like, if I've paid for dinner, then on the car ride home, she's like, oh, wish I had a ping pong table at my workplace. I get to be like, oh, come on. That'll never fit in the kitchen. Yeah, I told her that joke. She was not happy at all. She was like, that's really s***. I was like, yeah, but it's thrifty, you know? Like, if you paid for dinner, I'd let you have one joke. That's a bargain. And she's like, yeah, your people love a bargain, don't they? Oh, equality. I'm surprised she even went on a date with me. You know, usually white girls don't really go for brown guys. Brown is like the black jelly bean to a white girl. They'll put it in their mouth, but only through a lack of other options.
That guy definitely put all the woke girls in their place. But it's kind of true, isn't it? Yes, of course men should pay, but then the girls should also make the food, or is it just some weird double standard?
What would you do if your kids were fat?
I'd let them be fat. I would not instill an eating disorder in them and encourage them to like lose weight or whatever.
Why do some parents do that?
Because they're trying to like conform to societal standards.
I think body positivity is a good thing. Even if you're obese? Even if you're obese, yes. But not if you're unhealthy. Everyone has different body types and different bone structures, honestly, also too. True. Which can make you look more obese. Like wider rib cages or bigger hips. Like, that's just your body. That's not even food at that point.
Yeah, I don't think anybody has a rib cage that is so large it makes you look obese. I mean, it definitely is not the case that everyone has this weird symptom. Just stop trying to make your kid weak and unhealthy.
See, this guy keeps on trying to bump me every time I walk by.
You what?
Dude, I'm walking down the street.
I'm standing here. I'm allowed.
Let him go sideways.
Get out of my... Alright, Alex, you need to leave.
I'm not leaving, guys. You're trying to get in my way.
These protesters are just unbelievable. Imagine falling on purpose to try and prove your point. All he proved is that he can't be taken seriously.
Trisha, what is the force that causes objects to fall to the ground?
Girl, you better.
I know this because my titties are low thanks to gravity.
Yay! A personal anecdote.
Can we just also say we don't actually need gravity?
Oh my god!
But that's a different thing.
What do you mean by
I saw someone do this. Was this a TikTok? We were watching something where someone's like, we don't actually need gravity. We were watching this with me. Like, we actually don't need it.
What do you mean that we don't need gravity?
What if it was never invented?
Invented by who?
Sir Isaac Newton.
Isaac Newton created gravity?
Whoever created gravity, someone did, but we don't actually need it.
There was,
like,
there was a time on Earth before gravity existed?
Yes. Who created gravity, babe?
Well, I'm out, guys. If this is what's cool now, I think I'm done. I no longer have any connection to this world. I'm gonna go home and myself. Goodbye, friends.
Dan.
It was Isaac Newton. You're right.
You were in the right ballpark. Sir Isaac Newton perhaps first defined and discovered gravity.
What do you mean we don't need gravity? I'm curious about that
We just
statement.
don't need it.
But like, what do you mean?
The moon doesn't have gravity.
It does. All bodies, all celestial, all bodies,
All
you have
mass.
gravity.
Anything with mass has gravity.
In fact, some would say you have a sizable amount of gravity.
What's that mean?
Who is gonna tell this 304 woman the truth? No, but can humankind even get to a lower point than this?
That for teenage boys now, they are so terrified of the consequences of putting a foot out of line. It's hard enough being a young teenager, working out how things are, working out how to do dating and all of that, without the terror that if you touch in the wrong place at the wrong time, you may find that your whole life is destroyed.
See, I
and there
like
is
that
far
terror.
too much. Well,
I like that.
As a
I think
mother
that
of a
men should
teenage
be
boy, I
frightened.
don't like
Really?
that
That's
terror.
the most malicious thing I've ever heard.
That is
I
awful.
think that men should be frightened
I think
to
you'd
touch
feel
women in a way
differently
that
if you
they're
were,
not
if
comfortable
you were.
with.
But we're talking about
Yeah, but we're not talking
teenagers,
about. We're
children.
not talking about.
We're talking
yeah, but
about
it's an
young
interesting
children.
thing that you see. I would say that attitude actually is part of the problem too.
It
That
is.
is that's to me toxic femininity.
It is.
That is saying you should all be terrified, you men, if you put one. Well, I think we all understand what
is an assault?
What Isabel's talking about is that young teenage clumsiness
really
in many
hard.
cases, which is now being recategorized as assault. Is that a problem?
It's not being recategorized as it's always been assault. It's just we're finally talking about it.
I don't agree with that. But I do think it's really hard for a 16, 17-year-old boy now in this environment to know even how to start
they are all
having some
terrified.
kind of physical relationship with a woman.
Those good boys are all terrified. I know that from talking to my son. He's just like, I'm just not going there. Is that healthy?
Yes, I
The
think
other
it is
point-
actually. I think it's better to not have a physical relationship than to have one that could ruin a woman's life.
But then how do they ever start?
Well, don't. If you're not 100%
Don't.
sure,
What are we going
don't.
for?
What are you going to have? A bunch of Newton boys who never
it's
had.
so obvious.
We actually
It's
do
sort
have
of
that.
like-
Gen Z is having far less relationships than any ever before.
It's true.
Did this feminist just say that boys should be terrified of being together with girls? I mean, the people that commit crimes aren't going to stop when these feminists appear. All it does is create division between men and women, and what you are left with is a bunch of non-gendered sad people.
You don't want to get married at all? You don't want a
Not
family or
yet.
children?
Yes, but in the future, but no now.
Well, you're 28, right?
Yes.
When do you want to have kids?
35 maybe?
Well, at 35, 90, from a biological standpoint, at 35 years old, around 90% of your eggs are gone. And your ability to bring a child to term comes down a lot.
I don't think so. Age is a number.
I mean, you can say you don't think so, but realistically speaking, your chances of having a child bringing them to
Freeze the
term
eggs.
at 35, that doesn't work often, and it's very expensive.
I don't know. I want to enjoy my life, so I'm not ready.
Yeah, no problem, but you will not get any kids then, since you can't just make the universe adjust your bodily autonomy to what you want.
We've got quite a large pay dispute happening with our Australian women's soccer team at the moment. Is it frustrating for you as someone who's so prominent in your sport? And we heard you say on the Ellen show the other day you are the richest fighter in UFC, that sort of thing is still going on?
I think that how much you get paid should have something to do with how much money you bring in. I'm the highest paid not because Dina and Lorenzo wanted to do something nice for the ladies. They do it because I bring in the highest numbers. They do it because I make them the most money. And I think that the money that they make should be proportionate to the money that they bring.
If they want women to earn more, then why aren't they booking tickets to their shows? This is just clown world. Imagine wanting other people's money to forcefully be put into paying people who don't entertain people enough to deserve that kind of money. Comment your favorite clip down below and see you next time.